Just want to do a quick update here on the Mark of the Beast system, the implantable microchip RFID thing. I had a brother send me two very interesting articles from the BBC. His brother is actually from the UK. And I'm not going to show this first video because it's just audio. It's these two guys being interviewed. But it's talking about, you'll see it on screen here. I'll put this picture up. BBC iPlayer, or player, I guess that is iPlayer radio. 5 Live in short. It says, would you microchip your children? Two dads who created an app that allows parents to issue an alert if their child is lost say they are looking into creating microchips for children. They are considering both microchips that could be placed in clothing and microchips that could be injected under a child's skin that would beam an alert when parents wanted to locate them. Over 16,000 people have responded on social media after Stephen Fern, who runs the Lost Kids Company with brother Darren, sought public opinion on the subject. Despite acknowledging that an implant would be invasive, Stephen said over 95% of people on social media had responded positively to the idea. The clip is originally from 5 Live Drive on Monday, 26th of January 2015. So this is just a couple days ago. Okay, I mean, it's January 30th today, so it's literally 4 days ago. And here we have this one. He sent me this one now. This is actually the 29th of January, so this is yesterday. Okay, and you have BBC News Technology. Rory Seelan-Jones, technology correspondent. Office puts chips under staff's skin. Okay, and yeah, this hideous creature here, and it's actually a guy, this weird tattooed thing with the shaved head and all the hair in the back there and these big plates in the ear and whatever. And this guy from the BBC is actually having a chip put into his hand here. And I'm going to play the video of this real quick here, so let's watch this.
Here in the centre of Stockholm, a new high-tech office building is open to welcome startups and established companies like Google and Microsoft. But there's one key thing about the technology of the building, and that is that people who work here can be chipped to gain entry to the building and various services. I've just been chipped myself. It's not a painless process, but it doesn't last too long, not too difficult. Minor surgical procedure, which basically involves a little chip the size of, I suppose, of a grain of rice being inserted under your skin, and you can then go off and have it programmed and then do various things inside the building. Let's go and have a look. And here's Hannah Schobler, who is in charge of this whole chipping operation in this building. Now, you've been chipped yourself. Where's your chip?
Yeah, I have a chip right here, which I use to access the entire office.
So let's see if we can get into this particular.
This is how I do it.
Okay.
No need for passcodes.
And we're in. So, what else can you use this for? Is it just for gaining entry to doors? Because that would seem a fairly simple thing.
Absolutely not. I mean, with this technology, I interact with all kinds of devices all around us. It can be normally my smartphone. I unlock my smartphone, my computer, I unlock my bike. All kinds of things that are now part of the greater connected Internet of Things.
But inside this building, you'll be able to do what else? What other thing will you be able to do?
Oh, I open the front door, I open various office rooms, I open the copy machine so that I can log into it.
So you can print just by putting your hand against the printer?
Exactly. So it's instead of having some clumsy device in my pocket, I just put my hand on the reader. If we help show people that this is really not that complicated, it's making our lives easier, I think people will actually welcome this tool to make their lives easier.
And is there a sort of wider philosophy behind it?
We are early adopters of this technology. We experiment with it, we learn it, how it works, because I think that there might be a day when the tax man or the big corporates will come to us and say, hey, try this chip, try this implant. And then we, the biohackers who understand this technology, we will be able to question their proposals.
Interesting that if you saw the guy there, this head guy that's going around talking, he keeps going like this. You know, keeps putting his hands together, real deliberate. Not just, you know, like this or whatever. He's real deliberate. It's a Masonic signature. Okay, again, downward pointing triangle, upward pointing triangle, you put the two together, that's a Masonic system. And there's a lot of other things I could say about that, but it's this Masonic symbol. They're symbolizing things there. But, oh, it's so cool, it's so convenient, and let's read the article here. It's not a very long one, we'll just read it quick. It says, want to gain entry to your office, get on a bus, or perhaps buy a sandwich? We're all getting used to swiping a card to do all these things, but at Epicenter, a new high-tech office block in Sweden, they are trying a different approach, a chip under the skin. Felicio de Costa, whose company is one of the tenants, arrives at the front door and holds his hand against it to gain entry. Inside, he does the same thing to get into the office space he rents, and he can also wave his hand to operate the photocopier. That's all because he has a tiny RFID, radio frequency identification chip about the size of a grain of rice implanted in his hand. Soon others among the 700 people expected to occupy the complex will also be offered the chance to be chipped. Along with access to doors and photocopiers, they're promised further services in the longer run, including the ability to pay in the cafe with a touch of a hand. On the day of the building's official opening, the developer's chief executive was himself chipped live on stage, and I decided that if was to get to grips with this technology, I had to bite the bullet and get chipped too. The whole process is being organized by a Swedish biohacking group, which was profiled by my colleague Jane Wakefield recently. One of its members, a rather fearsome-looking tattooist, inserted my chip. First, he massaged the skin between my thumb and index finger and rubbed in some disinfectant. Then he told me to take a deep breath while he inserted the chip. There was a moment of pain, not much worse than any injection, and then he stuck a plaster over my hand. Plaster, if you're American, that means a Band-Aid, basically. Before trying my chip out, I wanted to know more about the thinking behind it. Hans Schulblad, whose electronic business card is on his chip and can be accessed with a swipe of a smartphone, has the title Chief Disruption Officer at the development. I asked him whether people really wanted to get this intimate with technology. We already interact with technology all the time, he told me. Today it's a bit messy. We need PIN codes and passwords. Wouldn't it be easy to just touch with your hand? That's really intuitive. When I tested my chip, I found that it was not all that intuitive. I had to twist my hand into an unnatural position to make the photocopier work, and while some of the people around the building were looking forward to being chipped, others were distinctly dubious. Absolutely not, said one young man when I asked him if he'd sign up. An older woman was more positive about the potential of the technology, but saw little point in being chipped just to get through a door. But Hans Schulblad says he and the Swedish biohacking group have another objective, preparing us all for the day when others want to chip us. Now look at this. This is important. We want to be able to understand this technology before big corporates and big government come to us and say everyone should get chipped. The tax authority chip, the Google or Facebook chip. Then he says we'll all be able to question the way the technology is implemented from a position of much greater knowledge. So might as well get chipped a while, in other words. I returned to Britain with a slightly sore hand and a chip still under my skin which has my contact details on it. Not that useful, but no doubt more sophisticated chips will soon replace wearable technology like fitness bands or payment devices, and we will get used to being augmented. All sorts of things are possible. Whether it becomes culturally acceptable to insert technology beneath our skin is another matter. Culturally acceptable. So they don't even say, hey, well, wait a second, this is a kind of like, looks like the Bible thing of the mark of the beast. That's not even given as an option anymore. It used to be they'd have these RFID things and they'd be like, some religious advocates are kind of against this thing, and some people are against it for religious objections. They don't even talk about that anymore. It's just like, oh yeah, whatever. Some people might be concerned about privacy, but it's not a big deal. Just get chipped. Absolutely insane. I mean, what more do people need to see to get saved? I just don't understand. It's just right there, right in your face now. Taking chips in the hand. You say, well, then these people have taken the mark of the beast. No, because the mark of the beast is, the beast has to be here, and people have to take the mark and worship the beast. It's a two-part system. And of course, it's happening at the same time. By taking the chip eventually, they are, showing their worship of the beast. And of course, it will go into actual worship services done in Babel buildings where you're getting in and scanning your hand and things like that. Like I showed in my video about the skull cult. Calvary Church down in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, they're already putting your fingerprint or your thumbprint or whatever. They already have biometrics in this thing to check in your children. To keep the kids safe, of course, And the other study that we looked at there that the brother sent me, 95% of people are saying that, yes, they would chip their children to keep them safe. We're so close. We're very, very, very close to the rapture, brethren. So stay encouraged, when you start to see this stuff, and there are some really evil things right now, and I do report on it because I'm trying to get people saved, and I know it can be very vexing, but think of the joy that we're going to have when we leave, and we all meet one another up there in the clouds, and then we meet the Lord, and our saved loved ones that have gone on before us, and we get to meet them, and we're reunited, and oh boy, talk about longing for that day. Just can't wait for it. So we will see you soon in the next video. There's like a whole lot of stuff the Lord's been showing us, and we will be coming out with plenty of it here in the next couple of weeks, the next month or two. It's just going to be, it's crazy. Some of the stuff that we're going to be coming out with, I'm very excited. So don't want to spoil the surprise. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching.